You're listening to Bullpen Science with Dr. Richard Aplin, the podcast that gives you real health solutions to your real health problems. And now, your visionary host, Dr. Richard Aplin.
Good morning, everyone. It's Dr. Richard Aplin with Bullpen Science, where we offer rock-solid solutions to today's health concerns. And today I have Glenda with me. Hello, Glenda.
Hello, good morning.
And we have a new topic that we're going to be talking about, and that topic is
sleep versus rest.
How many of you people sleep all night and wake up unrested the next morning? How many people search out for a new pillow or a new mattress? How many people can't go to sleep? How many people can't stay asleep? I mean, it just goes on and on and on. You know, the U.S. Government Health Agency states that greater than 90% of all health conditions are due to stress. And if you're not resting at night, now I'm not talking about just sleeping, I'm talking about resting, then you're adding to your stress load, which eats away at your capacity. And that's one of the leading causes of conditions in today's culture.
All right. Well, you know, I hear you talk a lot, about this around the office, and I just really wanted to know, why is proper rest so important? I mean, I hear you talk about stress, but why, if I'm sleeping and not resting, why is proper rest so important?
Well, it really gets down to how your brain actually functions. When we're working during the day and we're busy doing our tasks, our brain is operating at a higher frequency.
Okay.
All right, and it's necessary because when you dial in these frequencies, certain neurophysiological actions happen in the body. Certain functions occur, and it allows you to operate in a very efficient manner. Well, the same thing happens when you get ready to go to sleep. As the night comes along, and like we're talking about this week, the circadian rhythms and the problems that ensue with people who work in night shifts.
Right.
And when your brain starts to slow down, it's very important that it goes through all the different frequencies as it slows down, because there's different things that happen in these different stages. And then when you get ready to go to bed, your brain goes down into this little dreamy state, and then it drops off into rest. And all of these frequencies are designed to trigger certain types of function in the body. So when the body is in rest, it actually is repairing itself.
Oh.
I find it interesting. It's almost one of those things you really don't think about that much. But if a person is in a really horrible accident and they go to the hospital, what do? They induce a coma.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they're trying to put their brain into such a low state that the body can repair itself.
Now, does that work?
Absolutely, it works.
Okay. So then that makes me think, what is the difference between rest and sleep?
Exactly.
Because if they're in a coma, that is induced. They're not like really sleeping, but is that something better than nothing type deal, or?
Well, we have to look at the fact that sleep and rest are actually products of the brain. All right, so when you're asleep, your brain is at a certain frequency, which is not as low a frequency as when you are resting.
Okay.
All right, so you, just like I said earlier, you can sleep all night and wake up the next morning and never feel rested. And a lot of people do.
Well, then, if I feel like I rested well, like if I know that I don't sleep well if I toss and turn all night, but what if I'm just knocked out? I think I sleep good, if I don't get up to use the bathroom, if I sleep all night long. And so how do I know, like, if I am resting or if I'm just sleeping?
Well, one of the physical aspects of resting is something that you said. If I don't get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom, how many people get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom?
Well, anybody who drinks a lot before they go to bed at night.
Well, that's what we're told, but guess what? That's not necessarily true.
That's what my mama said before I went to bed.
Well, your mama was smart, but she's not really up to date on the science. When your brain slows down into rest, which means that you go through the dream state and you go into this non-REM, almost paralytic style of rest, your brain will actually release a hormone called vasopressin, which goes to your kidneys, and it tells the kidneys to recycle fluids. And so really no fluid goes to the bladder. So the amount of fluid that you drink before you go to bed is irrelevant. And so all these years, doctors have been telling patients, well, you need to cut down on your fluid intake before you go to bed so that you won't get up in the middle of the night. Well, honestly, they're missing the boat.
Okay.
They're really not understanding what's going on. And that's just something that has been told down through the years. And so we've just accepted it as true.
Okay.
And just because it's been passed down from years to years doesn't make it true.
Well, we kind of thought we had evidence in that when we quit drinking, we didn't pee the bed.
Exactly. All right. But some people continue to have those issues.
Mm.
All right. And I saw it firsthand with my mother before she passed away. She had reduced her fluid intake to about 20 to 25 ounces of fluid a
Wow.
day
Wow.
under the recommendations of the doctor so that she would not get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom.
Mm.
But the problem was that she never rested.
Mm.
And when I went to visit her and I brought a piece of equipment called the Brain Tap, which is a fantastic piece of neuro programming equipment that we use in the office, after she used it just one time, she said the next morning that she actually rested all night and she never got up and go to the bathroom.
Wow, that's amazing.
So again, sleep and rest are two different issues. If you don't go into rest, you're going to toss and turn, and you're going to think it's the pillow's fault, and you're going to think it's the mattress's fault. And really, it's your fault because you do not possess the ability to move your brain into that lower frequency so that your body can rest.
So then I have a question. If I feel I slept well, what if I've taken medicine to allow me to sleep well, and I did not get up at night and use the bathroom? And I went to sleep on time like I wanted to, and I got up at the appropriate time. Well, I mean, does that include rest?
No. A lot of times people will take medication to help them go to sleep, but they don't stay asleep. They wake up multiple times during the night. And so as a result, when they take this medication, then they have to restrict their fluid intakes. All right. And so the illusion is that you're actually getting good quality rest because I've reduced my fluid intake, so I'm not having to get up and go to the bathroom. I took my medication, so it knocked me out. But when you start asking these people questions, like for instance, how long did it take you to go to sleep? Well, as soon as my head hit the pillow.
Right.
Well, that's horrible. Okay. And it's the same, it's just the flip side of the same coin for these people who say it takes me an hour to fall asleep.
Wait. So you're saying if I have, worked all day long and I'm exhausted and I go to bed and I let's say I didn't even take medicine. If I fall asleep when my head hits the pillow, you're trying to tell me I'm not resting?
Exactly.
I just can't. Dr. Aplin, I don't know about that. Listen, if I'm exhausted, I feel good when I hit that bed and hit that pillow.
But there's still a process of time for your brain to slow down.
So what is that time?
All right, that time can take anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes on average for most people. If you're going to sleep earlier than that, then your brain is not really moving from the high frequency state down into the lower frequencies, preparing the body for rest.
All right. So if my brain jumps off of the high frequency, lands in the low frequency,
you lost everything that was needed moving from that high frequency state to that low frequency state.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a lot more important than people think.
We might get some feedback on this one.
Yes, I know.
Well, all in all, how can I make sure that I get a good night's rest, that I'm actually resting? Because I mean, if you just told me that my body repairs itself when I am resting as opposed to just sleeping, how is it that I can make sure I get a good night's rest that doesn't involve medication, since we just found out that medication does not mean that we're resting? What do I need to do?
Well, really, it starts with not understanding that when you finish a day, you need to finish the day. And so when you're working all day and you come home and get on the computer, and then you move from the computer to your cell phone and start doing Facebook, or you go to your tablet, and then you go to bed and you turn on the television set so that you can watch the news to help knock you out.
Okay.
All right, these are all issues that are affecting your ability or lack thereof of resting.
Okay.
So we need to get our society and our culture back to understanding that there needs to be an end to the day. These are boundaries that your mind actually needs so that it can do the next stage, which is rest and repair.
Okay.
All right. So when you get home at the end of the day, all right, you practice some type of decompression strategy. In other words, if you think about years ago, before we had television, before a lot of people had radio, when they would finish the evening meal, they'd go sit on the front porch and they'd rock in the rocking chair or they'd swing in a swing. What do you think that was doing?
Relaxing, I guess.
It was decompressing their bodies, and they were actually able to get rid of tension that they had built up through the day, properly functioning. And so then when they were getting ready to go to bed, they actually went through the process of slowing the mind down, going through the dream state into the non-REM paralytic style rest.
Okay. So I got that. Okay, so I need to set up some sort of routine.
Yes, absolutely.
To break, because honestly, when you leave the work day, you shift gears. To me, it's almost like a car. I never turn the car off. I just shift gears. I shift from employee to mommy mode.
Right.
And then from mommy mode to me time. But me time is not truly me time. It's just more stuff.
It's catch up time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're trying to catch up from all the things that you had to do that took away from the me time.
Okay.
But if you just address that with an intention, in other words, if you sat down and said to yourself, or say out loud, and I recommend people say out loud because words have power. And so we talk over our troubles.
Right.
All right. And so we make the statement, regardless of what's going on right now, for the next 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever that time frame is, I'm just going to let go. This is more than just me time. I'm just going to let go. And then you lay your head back, and then you just practice some abdominal breathing so that you can slow down that nervous system, and you actually can help your brain and your body work more efficiently, more appropriately. I chuckle when I think to myself, I have 2 grown children. And so when the children were very small and going into the school age time, we always had this process that we went through in each evening preparing the child to sleep.
Okay.
Why did we give up on that for us?
Well, what was the process?
Well, the process, most of the children, they finish their homework, they'd have their dinner, they may have a little bit of free time, then we would have them go take a bath, and then we'd have them get ready for bed, and we'd read a book to them, and then we may sing to them, and we do our prayers, and so we're preparing the child to go to sleep. Well, that same thing needs to happen for an adult. Now, I'm not recommending that you go find someone to read you a book. But there are certain things that you can do to slow your mind down.
Some people still read books before they go to bed.
Right.
That's part of their thing. And I've heard you say...
And the problem is the reader of the book is actually elevating their brain frequencies. The receiver of the words are not.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it. So I think step number 1 is definitely getting a routine together to take your brain down the steps of, what do you call it? The levels
of brain frequency.
Got it. Okay. All right. So you get home from work, you do what you have to do, and then you start this process of slowly getting ready for bed. So what should that process include?
Well, like I said before, just having an intentional time where you just sit down and it's a routine, whether it be on the front porch, whether it be in the living room, dining room, wherever. You sit, turn off all the stimulus, all right, as much as you can, radios, television, that kind of stuff, stay off the Facebook, and intentionally tell yourself for the next few moments, regardless of what is going on right now, I'm just going to let go. And so practice some abdominal breathing, which is activating those recovery mechanisms in the brain. Slow yourself down, and then move into the evening preparation for bedtime. Now, a couple of things that we talk about is the fact that if you have problems slowing your mind down, a piece of dark chocolate and rocking in a rocking chair will absolutely slow your mind down.
Wow, those 2 little simple things.
Very simple. Now, we're not talking about a candy bar.
I was just about to say.
We're talking about 1 square of chocolate. And it needs to be dark chocolate. It needs to be at least 70% cacao, because the active ingredient in chocolate actually activates the dopamine receptors in the brain.
Get out of here.
And so it's a pleasure center, and it calms down the mind.
Wow.
Now, for those who frequent wine, or they like to drink wine, drinking 2 ounces of dark red wine along with the dark chocolate actually helps calm the mind down too.
Now, what's in the wine to help?
Well, the tannin in the wine actually helps reduce high frequency output in the brain. And there are, so many studies that are out there touting the benefits of drinking wine. But notice what I said, 2 ounces.
Okay.
All right, not 2 cups, 2 ounces.
So I hear you talking, and I hear you saying, actually, that these things are great in moderation, and that can actually help us
Absolutely
do something. Okay. Well, that's, that's really interesting. Got to get a bedtime routine. We do it for our kids so that they stay on task, stay on schedule, and have a great day at school the next day.
And we all agree that if they get a good night's rest, they actually are prepared better for school.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So why wouldn't we do that for ourselves?
We just get lost in the shuffle. So for all you guys out there, I hope you have a really good night's rest. Not just a good night's sleep, but a good night's rest. And we'll talk to you next time on Bullpen Science.
You've been listening to Bullpen Science with Dr. Richard Aplin. To learn more about real health solutions to your real health problems, call us at 256-203-9433 or visit us online at envisionchiropractic.com today.